All right, so boom. A number of people have sent me emails, DMs, comments asking what are my thoughts on the current state of the Pittsburgh Steelers and what are my projections for 2025. I could tell you right now, I don't have any optimism going into this year. I usually find myself being relatively optimistic. In fact, last year was the first time since maybe 2020 that I was incredibly ecstatic for the upcoming season, only to be let down. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't give a damn whether it had been the letting Najee Harris walk, not re-signing Justin Fields, trading for DK Metcalf, which I think is pretty cool, and not knowing what's going to be the situation at quarterback, whether it be Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. Let me first say this. Nothing matters until we fix the offensive line and defensive line. It don't matter if we were to resurrect Johnny Unitas and have him show up as our quarterback. We can give the fountain of youth to Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady. We ain't gonna win no damn games if we can't protect the quarterback. Now, let's first just take into account who's on our depth chart in our running back room and our quarterback room. Running back room, Jaylen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, Cordero Patterson. We have the greatest kick returner, not overall returner, that's Devin Hester, not punt returner, that's Devin Hester, but kick returner in Cordero Patterson. He ain't no motherfucking running back who's gonna make some goddamn noise. Kenneth Gainwell is a perennial backup. Granted, he was a hell of a rotational piece, change of pace, if you will, over in Philly, but ain't nobody checking for this man on the depth chart. And Jaylen Warren, albeit the bowling ball who we thoroughly enjoyed, see him go and make plays year in, year out, but we don't know if he got what it takes to be a RB1. We let Najee walk with all of the effort that he showcased over the past 4 some years. Now, granted, the yards per carry was ass. We can definitely question how well his vision may have been, but he was able to give us 4,000-yard seasons, albeit just so happened to have broke the 1,000-yard mark, behind a piss-poor motherfucking offensive line. We could have re-signed him for next to nothing, and we let him walk. And don't get me started on our quarterback room. Whack-a-mole Mason Rudolph returns, and Skylar Thompson. That's the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback room right now. If it's Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, the two elderly quarterbacks, if one of them go down, who is gonna step onto the field? If this is the quarterback room we gonna have, call Tommy Maddox right now. Get Neil O'Donnell on the phone right now. Get Dennis Dixon on the phone right now. Mike Toms, call somebody so we can already know we're going to be mediocre before the season even starts. Let me first say this. We all had a nonverbal agreement how last year was going to go in the quarterback room. Russell Wilson will be the starter. He's going to teach Justin Fields. Unless Russell Wilson leads us to the Super Bowl, the AFC Championship, or performs so well to where there is no alternative for him not being the starter, Justin Fields was supposed to be the future of this team. We let him walk for what? For what? We don't even know who our quarterback's gonna be, but we let this man go? For what? Make it make sense. We've lost the plot. Years ago, it's been the same shit for the better portion of the last decade. We've been ass, we've been a laughing stock. When was the last time that we were in position to win the division outside of this year? 2020? We absolutely collapsed then. Really? It was 2017. 2018, we completely fell apart. 19, the injury to Roethlisberger. 2020, we were absolute frauds, skating by 11-0. And then we lost 5 of our last 6. Insert Kenny Pickett. Can't make plays whatsoever. And then, for whatever reason, last year, we completely forget how to play football the last 5 weeks of the season. And here we are now. with the same question marks that we had last year. And let me just say this regarding our defense, right? We signed Darius Slay, big play Slay, baby. Woohoo! It's no different than when we signed Patrick Peterson. We steadily go in and getting these elderly cornerbacks. Can we get somebody who's got a little bit of youth? Don't get me wrong. I got nothing wrong with the veteran leadership and that being in the locker room. That's magnificent. But you can't sit around here thinking these motherfuckers is gonna mess around and be our saviors. We need pieces expeditiously. Our defense may not be the last in the league on third and long situations and crucial third downs, whether that be long or short, but we are amongst the worst. When we need to make a play, we don't make it. The only person who makes those timely goddamn plays is TJ Watt. Cameron Hayward damn near had a I should even say damn near. He had a spectacular season at 35. We all thought he was done after being in and out of the rotation a couple years prior. Mans came back and gave a performance of a lifetime for nothing because it was two motherfuckers on defense who was able to go out there and make plays. And that was Watt and Hayward. Minka ain't make a splash play since before the Trump administration. And we sitting here in the same goddamn position that we were coming into this year. And I'll say this regarding Mike Tomlin. A ton of different people always constantly getting online talking about, well, the Steelers, and primarily Ryan Clark is incredibly guilty of this, saying, well, he would love to see Tomlin move on so that Steeler fans would be able to appreciate what it is that we done had. I need you to understand, if year in, year out, we're middle of the pack, Tomlin has since transmogrified into the brand new Jeff Fisher. Rather than 8-8, it's 9-8 or 10-7, and then you get bounced in the first round. It really doesn't matter if Pittsburgh's able to either maintain a winning season or limp, crawl, or just fall into the postseason if we're not competing. Because for the Steelers standards, it's Super Bowl or bust every single year. And now we've since turned into the Cincinnati Bengals of yesteryear, because since Burrow showed up, no longer is it if we could just make it to the playoffs and win a playoff game. Now they're also thinking Super Bowl or bust, but it's more legitimate for them than it is for us. We've turned into those teams that desperately want to see a playoff win. Since when has that been our identity? Never. Since before the 70s? You can't find a Steelers fan who didn't know when we were at least in the conversation. Now, granted, we did have that period in the 80s, but that's neither here nor there. It's very difficult to find those particular fans. And now that's our identity, and Tomlin is directly tied to that. So when we say we want man's gone, or something's got to give, it's because every single year it's the same shit. And if you're the head coach, that directly falls on your shoulders. Oh, well, we don't got no quarterback. We ain't got no moves. Well, you're the head coach. Do something. Do something. So, with all that being said, I think we cooked. I will say this much. If I had to choose between Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, I would go Aaron Rodgers. But it doesn't matter if we don't have an offensive line to protect, because they're going to be on their back, staring up at the heavens at the end of every single drive if can't nobody protect. And we made this trade for DK Metcalf, which is magnificent. But as far as I'm concerned, just like I just said, we can have Jerry Rice in his prime, resurrect Don Hudson on the other side, Terrell Owens, motherfucking Randy Moss, Marvin Harrison, Calvin Johnson, Antonio Brown pre-CTE. It doesn't matter who's lining up at wide receiver if we ain't got the protection to create the scenario for the quarterback to get the ball to the wide receiver. We've got crash out twins in George Pickens and DK Metcalf. I would be surprised if by week 5 we don't have a situation where one of them is suspended or some sort of fine, because it's not going to be because of something that the opposite team did to provoke them to act. It's going to be frustration from not getting the football because our drives are constantly ending in 3 and outs, or the quarterback simply cannot mess around and get the ball to one or maybe both of the wide receivers, because I have no confidence in our protection up front. Legitimately, I'm not wishing for a losing season. I would never cheer against my team, but something has got to give, because every single year it's the same tune. So I say all that to say, where I am right now, I'm not optimistic at all. So we can go and maybe get Aaron Rodgers. We'll maybe sprinkle, some motherfucking herbs around the stadium. Maybe tell him it's free ayahuasca for a month inside Akashar, and he might just decide to go inside. Or we can go back and get Russell Wilson. Yay, he introduced DK Metcalf to his fiance. We're matchmaking everything, but matching with the Super Bowl title. Whatever the case may be, until something changes, you gonna see me here alongside every single one of my fellow Steelers fans at the conclusion of the 2025 season, angry as fuck, because once again we're above 500, but we're bounced in the first round, or we didn't get enough wins to qualify for the postseason. That's my take on the current state of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Go get a fucking offensive line and defensive line, please. And would you get off the field on 3rd and long? That would be very nice. Hold on, just because the NFL season of the Super Bowl has since passed doesn't mean that the fun stops on Underdog. The NBA season's still in full swing and it's gonna pick up after All-Star break. The MLB is on the horizon, less than a month away. March Madness is here. The NHL is still in full force. There's so many ways to enjoy sports, but there's no better way to enjoy it than with Underdog. They're still doing deposit matches up to 50% for first-time depositors, and new signups using my code Adonis, ADONIS, will still receive a free pick. So to everybody who hasn't already signed up, make sure you click that link in my description or scan the QR code on the screen right now. Download the Underdog app. Use promo code Adonis, ADONIS, and they will not only match your first-time deposit by a percentage, you'll also receive a free pick. Let them know I sent you. Hey, I appreciate you watching the entire video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button on the way out if you haven't already. And on top of that, hit that notification bell as well. For whatever reason, YouTube's only showing my videos to 20% of my subscribers. So if you have already turned on the notification bell, turn it off, turn it back on. If you never turn it on, turn it on. I appreciate you.